Fellowship for almost 4 years now. So my personal prayer life probably looks different than a lot of people's. It is pretty informal. It is not very scheduled. It doesn't really, I don't use like Bible studies very often. It can be kind of scatterbrained. As I'm talking to God, I will spider web all over the place, and I'll start talking about this, and then I'll think about this, and then I'll come back to this. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but it's very close, it's very intimate, it's very familiar, it's very comforting, and it's just like me talking to an old friend who I've known forever and ever. And God really meets me where I'm at, and He talks to me the way that I talk. And so for someone to speak truth to me and step on my toes a little bit is very loving to me and very intimate to me. Other people wouldn't necessarily like that. They have a conversation that maybe looks more tender, and that's just not how I am. I like when God says to me like, hey girl, I don't think so, or oh really? Oh, that's what we're doing right now? Like, that's how God talks to me, because that's how I talk to Him. I'm a very visual person, so I usually even visualize Him sitting next to me or sitting across from me. Sometimes I'll visualize me laying my head on His lap if I'm really needing comfort that day. Sometimes when I'm driving the car, I picture Him next to me in the passenger seat. And yeah, sometimes He's like the best friend that you don't even need to talk to. You just like, look at each other, you know what the other one's thinking. I'll do that with God sometimes too. So yeah, my prayer life looks a little, the way we communicate is blunt and straightforward, but to me that's comforting and that's loving, and I like it like that. As a child, I remember seeking God even then, and I don't think that I heard full messages from God as a child, but I definitely felt His presence, and I would feel His comfort, or I would just feel Him loving on me, or helping me not feel alone. And then as I got older, that grew into just little whispers of little words, just I love you, I'm with you, I won't leave you. And then as I got older and older, that turned into more obvious ways that He would ask me to obey Him, or full-on sentences that I would hear, and I would seek Him more, and I would hear Him more, and I would seek Him more, and I would hear Him more. And it hasn't been a specific intentional journey that I've tried to grow my prayer life in. It's just kind of naturally happened, just like you would build a friendship. We've gotten closer and closer as the years have gone. So what I almost always pray for, kind of every day, is I always ask for patience, and I always ask for gentleness, because I always need those things. Right now, what I've been praying for regularly over and over is for me to have and receive true humility, and not false humility, not the humility that's like that puts myself down, or who thinks less of myself, but true humility, the kind from God that He wants us to have, that we are in the right position with Him. And a lot of that has just come out of this last year's trauma, and then how I've responded to that trauma, I haven't liked. And so then I'm like, why am I responding that way, and why am I doing this? And yeah, so I haven't been liking who I've been, and so I've been believing all these bad things about me, and so that's why I've been praying recently for true humility. For Lent, I decided I was going to pray for other people intentionally. And I decided I was going to merge my Lent with Blessed 2020. And so I mapped up my whole neighborhood, and I picked little 2 or 3 houses right around my house, the few blocks around my house, and I was going to pray for a few of those each day. And that was initiated mostly by, we've had an increase in violence in my neighborhood. And we had one thing where there was a drive-by shooting just a block away. and one of my neighbors got it on their, doorbell video. And when I watched that, it really went down deep in my heart and rocked me to the core. And I hated it, and it scared me, and I felt very powerless, and what can I do about it? And then God immediately was like, you got me, that's what you can do about it, and we can talk about it. And so I was like, right. So each day I've been praying for a different neighbor intentionally, and that's been different every day, but also every day at the end of the prayer I pray for the same thing, because there's one house in particular that has been the hub of a lot of the violence, and it's a rental house, and there's a neighbor that wants to buy it, but the landlord has been not willing to sell. And I've been praying that one every single day, and I just found out a few days ago that the neighbor and the landlord have been in conversation, and they're talking about selling. And I was just like, yes, I've been praying for that. That was what I've been doing. So it's not finished yet, but I've been praying even harder now that I learned that there's been steps towards it, and it was very encouraging. And I really felt like God was like, see, girl, we got this. Bring it to me. And so I have been, and I've been even stepping it up, asking for more intentional, bolder with my prayers, let's get this, let's let this happen. So since I've been praying for all the neighbors, and I live right across the street from Joe, Pastor Joe, is that I put him by himself on his day, and so his day was the other day. And I was praying, and I just felt a little, because I don't typically pray for the same thing over and over and over. So when I got to Pastor Joe's house, I've been doing it for a good, 2 weeks or so already, and so it felt a little routine, and it wasn't really connecting with my heart, and so I didn't like how that felt, and I wanted to definitely pray for Pastor Joe and have it be from the heart. And so I started praying, and I wasn't feeling it, and so I opened up the windows so I could see his house to see if that would help. And I still wasn't really feeling it, so I just took a second, I stopped, and I was like, okay, God, I don't want to do this until it's time, until I feel it. And right then, the trash people came, and I saw Stephanie come out and Pastor Joe come out, and Stephanie was all talking to the garbage men and being really nice, and Joe, ran his stuff out and handed it to them, and then pulled his trash can up, and of course then grabbed the neighbors and pulled it up. And it was just, seeing them reminded me of his service, and how he's a servant leader, and also how kind Stephanie was, and just friendly, and then I was feeling it. Then I was like, okay, right, that's who they are. And it was a really cloudy day, and so I just had my hand up, and I was praying over their home, and I was praying over protection, because now it's transformed into not just protection and blessing over the house, but also for coronavirus and over their bodies. And so I was praying over them, and I kept saying, shine, God, shine on them so they can shine on us, shine on them so they can shine on us. And I said it kind of over and over, and maybe the third or fourth time I said, shine on them. I kid you not, the first time of the day, the clouds must have moved, and the sun just kind of hit their house, and it just lit it up, and it was so full of sunshine, and I'm praying shine on them, God, so they can shine on us. And it was the sun hit their house, and I was like, yes, God. And it was so is that from you? I think it's from you. Even if it's not, I want to say it is, and I love it, and yep, that's from you. And it was warmed my heart, and I felt God near, and I felt that he was hearing me, and I felt that he was shining on Pastor Joe and Stephanie and their whole family so that they could shine on us.